Homeowners associations, or HOAs, are organizations formed within communities to enforce a set of rules aimed at maintaining the appearance and upkeep of properties, as well as fostering a sense of cohesion among residents. While their intentions often revolve around preserving property values and creating a pleasant living environment, the stringent regulations they impose can sometimes lead to unforeseen conflicts with individual homeowners. These rules encompass everything from the colors of house exteriors to lawn decorations and, intriguingly, even activities like photography. At first glance, the notion that a group could dictate how residents may engage with celebrities seems somewhat extreme. However, HOAs assert that maintaining uniformity plays a crucial role in ensuring that no one resident's actions negatively impact another's enjoyment of their home. The thought process is grounded in fostering an atmosphere that feels orderly and appealing to all potential buyers and visitors alike. Aesthetics, noise control, and even the types of gatherings permitted within the community are typically under the purview of HOA guidelines. Homeowners agree to these regulations when they move into communities governed by an HOA, often believing they will enhance their quality of life. But what happens when these standards inadvertently clash with personal moments that contribute to the joy and excitement of living in a vibrant community? This question becomes particularly relevant in the case at hand. A seemingly lighthearted encounter with one of basketball's greatest players turned contentious due to rigid interpretation by the HOA. Imagine the thrill of capturing a picture with LeBron James, a defining moment many would cherish and proudly display. Yet, for some homeowners in this particular neighborhood, that joy was overshadowed by a letter from the HOA citing violations related to use and enjoyment of shared spaces. It seems ridiculous to some residents. The regulations appeared intended less to protect the community's integrity and more about enforcing control over trivial matters. Due to their strong emphasis on rules enforcement, HOAs have garnered both support and ire from residents. For some families who value predictability and uniformity in their living environment, these regulations provide peace of mind. Conversely, there are those who resist restrictions on personal expression, especially when it comes to sharing joyful experiences with others. The disparity between these two viewpoints often creates friction within neighborhoods. The current situation reflects broader conversations in society about moderation versus freedom. How far should governance extend into personal lives? An encounter between a homeowner and a celebrity illuminates this debate, shedding light on whether such fun interactions can be deemed disruptive or detrimental. For many neighbors witnessing or hearing about this particular incident, rather than seeing it as an infringement upon communal values, there was widespread enthusiasm and acceptance regarding sharing moments with someone so culturally significant. Thus begins a vibrant discussion amongst residents navigating not only their admiration for an iconic figure, but also their alliance for each other against perceived overreach from governing bodies like their HOA. Is there room for flexibility in the rules? Could shared experiences foster deeper bonds among neighbors rather than divide them? As we delve deeper into this complicated interplay between individual freedoms and community guidelines, it becomes evident that just because regulations exist does not mean they cannot evolve alongside the changing dynamics of modern neighborhoods. The day I met LeBron James was one of those rare moments that felt almost surreal. As a longtime basketball fan, I had always admired his talent, charisma, and the way he carried himself both on and off the court. Little did I know that my chance encounter would not only be a highlight of my life but also spark an unexpected controversy within my quiet neighborhood. It was an ordinary Saturday afternoon when I decided to take my kids to a local charity event where LeBron was making a special appearance. The gym buzzed with excitement as fans eagerly awaited their chance to see the NBA superstar. I remember standing in line, heart racing, as I pictured what it would be like to shake his hand or snap a quick photo. My kids were bouncing with excitement, their eyes wide as they anticipated meeting someone they idolized. When it was finally our turn, I approached him, trying to keep my composure. LeBron greeted us with that signature smile, making us feel welcomed and appreciated. After a brief chat about basketball and his philanthropic work, I mustered the courage to ask if we could take a photo together. His enthusiastic "of course" sent my spirits soaring. The moment was captured, my children grinning alongside one of the greatest players of all time, a memory etched in time that I would cherish forever. As soon as we left the event, I eagerly shared the picture on social media, tagging LeBron in hopes of catching his attention. The response was overwhelming. Friends and family congratulated us on the incredible encounter, and soon it garnered likes and comments from fellow neighborhood residents who admired our experience. It felt like a celebration of community spirit. Little did I know that this joyous moment would soon be met with scrutiny. Within days, however, I received an unexpected letter from our homeowners association. It cited violations concerning our use of shared spaces and restrictions on photography without prior approval. My excitement dwindled as I read through the regulations that seemed absurd in light of what had just occurred. How could capturing a moment of joy with a sports icon pose any threat to our community? What struck me most was not just the letter itself, but how it contrasted starkly with the reactions from my neighbors. Many were supportive and even reached out to express their admiration for the picture and our experience. They viewed it as a fun and positive reflection of our neighborhood spirit rather than an infringement on HOA rules. In conversations over backyard fences and during evening strolls, residents spoke fondly about their own celebrity encounters or aspirations to meet famous figures. There was a palpable sense of camaraderie forming around our shared excitement, as if we were rallying against an outdated system that didn't appreciate the value of personal expression and the joy it brought us. This incident sparked discussions about the role of HOAs in our lives. Should they regulate every aspect of our personal experiences? Couldn't they embrace moments that brought happiness and connection among neighbors? My photograph with LeBron wasn't just about me. It became a symbol of community pride, igniting conversations about flexibility within HOA policies and the importance of adapting to contemporary values that foster connection rather than division. Shortly after I shared the photo with LeBron James, I received a letter from our homeowners association that turned my exhilaration into confusion and frustration. The letter outlined specific violations related to the use of shared spaces for photography without prior approval, citing sections of the community's governing documents that I had scarcely considered before this incident. The HOA's primary concern was maintaining uniformity and order within the neighborhood. They argued that allowing residents to take photos with celebrities could lead to a slippery slope, where the boundaries of acceptable behavior might blur. Their regulations emphasized that all activities, particularly those involving public figures, needed to be vetted to ensure they did not disrupt the tranquility of the community. In their eyes, my spontaneous photo op had breached these established protocols. The letter referenced several rules regarding community aesthetics and shared enjoyment, stating that unsanctioned gatherings, even those as seemingly innocent as a brief encounter with a celebrity, could potentially create noise or traffic issues. The HOA insisted that unregulated photography could lead to larger events that might attract outsiders into our neighborhood, undermining the peaceful environment they sought to cultivate. It felt as if they were painting my innocent moment with LeBron as a potential threat rather than recognizing it for the joyous experience it was. As I read through the HOA's justification for their objection, I couldn't help but feel a sense of disbelief. Had we really come to a point where personal moments of happiness were subject to scrutiny? I understood their desire to maintain community standards, but this felt excessively rigid. It seemed particularly ironic given that the purpose of such associations is often framed around fostering neighborly connections and enhancing quality of life. I decided to reach out to some friends and neighbors who had also received letters from the HOA in similar contexts, instances where personal celebrations or gatherings had been questioned under vague guidelines. It became evident that this was not an isolated incident. Others had faced pushback for hosting small birthday parties or family gatherings in shared spaces without official permission. The collective frustration only added fuel to my resolve. It appeared our neighborhood was grappling with an overreach from those tasked with preserving community values. Neighbors openly expressed their support for my experience with LeBron and voiced their disdain towards what they perceived as unnecessary restrictions on personal expression. In casual conversations during walks or while tending to gardens, many argued that moments like mine should be celebrated rather than condemned. They recognized how such interactions could bring excitement and camaraderie among residents rather than disrupt it. This backlash against the HOA's stance led me to consider organizing a neighborhood meeting where residents could voice concerns about these regulations collectively. Surely, we could find middle ground, a way for the HOA to uphold its mission without stifling our ability to celebrate life's joyful moments. This incident revealed not just a conflict over one simple photo, but an opportunity for dialogue about how modern neighborhoods should navigate individual freedoms while still adhering to community standards. The more I thought about it, the clearer it became. Perhaps our neighborhood needed a fresh perspective on what truly defined our sense of community spirit. The response from the homeowners association stirred a wave of reaction throughout the neighborhood. As news spread about my encounter with LeBron and the subsequent HOA letter, neighbors began to voice their opinions more openly. Many found it hard to believe that such an exhilarating moment could be met with disapproval. A sense of camaraderie quickly developed among those who shared similar frustrations regarding the restrictive nature of our HOA's regulations. Gathering at common areas, whether at the playground or during informal weekend barbecues, conversations turned to how rules meant to preserve tranquility seemed to dampen our community spirit instead. Neighbors expressed their support for taking pictures with celebrities, often recounting their own celebrity encounters, moments that had enriched their lives and created lasting memories. One neighbor even mentioned a time they had a brief interaction with a famous musician at a festival, recalling how it made them feel connected to something larger than just everyday life. As people shared these stories, it became evident that these experiences were a source of pride within our community. Instead of being disruptive, neighbors argued that interactions with well-known personalities brought excitement and enthusiasm, fostering bonds among residents who celebrated these moments together. They believed this connection was crucial for building a strong neighborhood identity, one where residents could share personal triumphs rather than fear reprimand from the HOA. This dialogue highlighted a noticeable divide in how people viewed individual interests versus the HOA's intentions. While some neighbors appreciated the need for rules aimed at maintaining order and aesthetics within the community, the majority felt that those rules should not stifle authentic moments of happiness. It sparked discussions about what type of community we wanted to cultivate, one characterized by strict adherence to regulations or one that embraced joy and personal expression. Fueled by their enthusiasm, several residents began brainstorming how we could advocate for more flexible policies regarding such interactions. Ideas included proposing designated celebrity photo days or special events where on-site photography would be encouraged without conflict with HOA guidelines. These suggestions showcased a collective desire to not only maintain respect for community values, but also to promote an environment where friendly interactions were welcomed. I decided to take this spirit of support and solidarity further by organizing an informal gathering where we could all share thoughts on the impact of HOA regulations on our quality of life. The response was overwhelmingly positive. Many said they wanted to participate in shaping community discussions about initiatives that could loosen certain restrictions while maintaining respect for shared spaces. As we planned this meeting, it became clearer that this was about more than just my experience with LeBron. It was about redefining what constituted normalcy in our neighborhood and advocating for balance between individuality and communal expectations. Our collective yearning for connection and understanding suggested that perhaps our neighborhood was ready for change and even innovation in terms of how HOAs interpret regulations in light of modern-day sentiments around shared experiences. It was exciting to think about how we might forge new connections through shared appreciation rather than blind adherence to outdated norms, reaffirming the idea that joy should indeed have a place within our homes. The incident quickly gained traction online, transcending the confines of our neighborhood and capturing the attention of a wider audience. After sharing the photo with LeBron James, the post went viral, drawing enthusiastic reactions not only from friends and family but also from many others within our community. Social media had become the megaphone for our collective sentiments, amplifying individual voices into a chorus of support and shared experiences. Comments poured in from neighbors, each detailing their own celebrity encounters that had similarly enlivened their lives. One neighbor recounted a spontaneous meetup with an actress at a local cafe, explaining how it brightened an otherwise ordinary day and sparked provocative conversations about her films among friends. Another shared a story about his children meeting a beloved cartoon character during a street festival, noting the joy it brought to their family. These stories resonated deeply with everyone, underscoring the common understanding that interactions with public figures can create lasting memories filled with joy. The atmosphere was jubilant as online discussions unfolded across various platforms. A dedicated Facebook group emerged, where community members began posting photos and stories of their moments with celebrities, each anecdote reinforcing the idea that these encounters were not mere flukes, but rather instances worth celebrating. The thread quickly became a collection of local pride, highlighting how celebrities' visits could foster community togetherness rather than pose a risk to it. Amid this growing enthusiasm, our collective narrative began to shift. Rather than focusing solely on the HOA's restrictions, neighbors rallied around the idea that our community should not be constrained by outdated norms. Posts circulated discussing the possibility of organizing events where photography with notable visitors could be encouraged instead of frowned upon. Conversations buzzed with ideas for themed celebrity days, in which residents might invite celebrities to visit and engage in fun outings or charity events. As audio and video clips of my moment with LeBron began surfacing on social media platforms, excitement grew. People took joy in sharing screenshots or creating memes about the encounter, turning it into something both humorous and deeply relatable. Memes often depicted exaggerated scenarios about what residents might miss out on should the HOA's rules persist, such as neighbors being fined for merely enjoying life and celebrating joyful connections in our community. Within days, news sites picked up the story, shining a spotlight on the debate over personal expression versus organizational control in neighborhood settings. Some articles focused on the culture clash between traditional HOA values and more modern perspectives that prioritize freedom and individuality. Others highlighted our community's response as an example of how grassroots movements powered by social media could enact change against seemingly monolithic organizations. Through this online platform, what had initially started as one person's experience transformed into a passionate call to action. The digital world became an extension of our town hall meetings. Every like, share, or comment serving as a building block in reinforcing our mission to challenge restrictive HOA rules. It reinforced that our voices were not just echoes refracted through personal anecdotes, but were now part of a larger narrative exploring how we can blend tradition with progressive ideals. A narrative where joyful expressions should find a respected place in communal life. In the wake of the escalating tension between residents and the homeowners association over the photography issue, questions about the legal implications began to arise. Many neighbors started to wonder whether the HOA's restrictions were reasonable or if they infringed upon individual rights. Understanding these legal ramifications became crucial for determining how to move forward as a community. To navigate this complex situation, I sought advice from a lawyer experienced in HOA regulations and property law. During our conversation, he explained that HOAs have significant authority over communal living. They can enforce rules designed to protect property values and maintain community standards, but there are nevertheless limits to their reach, especially concerning personal rights. The lawyer emphasized that while homeowners agree to abide by HOA rules upon moving in, those regulations must still comply with local and state laws. An important factor is whether the restrictions placed on residents infringe upon their constitutional rights, such as freedom of expression. In this case, taking photos with celebrities could arguably fall under personal expression, an essential aspect of individuality that communities should celebrate rather than suppress. Moreover, he pointed out that many states recognize free association principles within HOAs, suggesting that residents should be allowed to engage in certain activities as long as they do not disturb the peace or safety of others. This understanding opens up avenues for questioning whether the HOA's regulations were overly broad or vaguely defined when it comes to photography. Inspired by this information, I shared these insights at our upcoming neighborhood meeting. Residents gathered not only to voice their opinions but also to hear about potential legal strategies for challenging any overly restrictive rules imposed by the HOA. It was refreshing to see neighbors come together with a newfound determination to advocate for their rights, while maintaining an appreciation for community standards. Discussions quickly turned towards gathering concrete evidence of how prevalent celebrity interactions are within our neighborhood and elsewhere in similar communities. By documenting these encounters and gathering testimonials from residents willing to share their experiences, we could establish a stronger case against the HOA's insistence on enforcing restrictive measures related to photography. Through additional research into HOA bylaws and local ordinances, we also learned about precedents set in neighboring areas where similar issues had arisen. In some instances, Communities had successfully amended their governing documents to allow for specific exceptions regarding spontaneous activities like celebrity encounters without compromising overall peace and order. As we looked forward, it became clear that educating ourselves about our rights was just as important as advocating for change. The online momentum had already built a strong foundation, with clear legal guidelines and united voices demanding flexibility around current regulations. We stood a better chance of fostering an environment where individual expression thrived alongside communal harmony. The more we engaged with experts and educated ourselves on legal matters related to HOA policies, the better equipped we became in addressing both our immediate concerns and anticipating future challenges regarding personal freedoms in our neighborhood. Collectively advocating for changes grounded in legal fairness positioned us not just as homeowners, but as empowered participants eager to redefine what community spirit should truly reflect. A space where joy and creativity can coexist freely within established norms. The involvement of public figures like LeBron James can have a profound impact on communities, shaping perceptions and dynamics in ways that extend far beyond the initial excitement of a celebrity encounter. In our neighborhood, the buzz surrounding my photo with LeBron not only sparked joy but also ignited discussions about what it means to have such celebrated personalities engage with local residents. Celebrities often serve as cultural touchstones, embodying aspirations and dreams that resonate within communities. Their presence can inject a sense of vitality and energy, fostering connections among neighbors who may otherwise remain uninvolved or disconnected. For many residents, seeing someone they admire engage at a local level can inspire a sense of belonging and encourage active participation in community events. My interaction with LeBron became a catalyst for this kind of engagement, transforming an ordinary day into a rallying point for collective excitement and pride. However, the response from the HOA illustrated the tension that can arise when public figures intersect with the more rigid structures of community governance. While some residents celebrated the joy that LeBron's presence brought, others viewed it through the lens of rules and regulations that govern behavior within shared spaces. This duality reflects the complexities of community life, where admiration for public figures can clash with the need for maintaining order. In our ongoing discussions, residents began to recognize that having celebrities visit or participate in local events could enhance community spirit, but it also required a reevaluation of how we engage with these experiences. Many suggested organizing community gatherings or events designed to celebrate local heroes alongside celebrity involvement, allowing for a merging of admiration and local pride. The potential for local celebrities to uplift and bind communities was not lost on us. We began to explore how we might reach out to other public figures with ties to our area, inviting them to meet residents, participate in charitable events, or even host workshops. The goal was to create a space where celebrity involvement could foster meaningful connections rather than merely becoming anecdotal experiences overshadowed by bureaucratic concerns. As we planned these potential events and initiatives, discussions often turned to how we could sustain this momentum following initial celebrity encounters. How could we ensure that the excitement continued long after the photo opportunities faded? By creating traditions rooted in community engagement, such as annual festivals celebrating both local and visiting public figures, we could cultivate a dynamic environment where joy, expression, and community spirit thrive. In addition to fostering neighborhood bonds, these efforts would also send a message to governing bodies like the HOA that our community values vibrancy and personal expression over rigid regulations. By involving public figures in our local narrative, we highlighted an evolving understanding of what it means to live in a connected community, one where residents can freely express their admiration and participation without fear of retribution. Ultimately, the intersection of celebrity involvement and community dynamics revealed an opportunity for growth. It was clear we needed to advocate for policies within our HOA that recognized the positive influence public figures can have on neighborhoods. By embracing these experiences as opportunities for connection and celebration, we could reshape our community into one that values both individual expression and collective joy, a place where memories are made alongside cherished public figures while adhering to a framework that allows for personal freedoms. Finding common ground between homeowners association, HOA, regulations, and residents' desires for personal expression is essential in addressing the tensions that have emerged from celebrity interactions and photography issues. As our community navigated the complexities of this situation, it became evident that a more collaborative approach to policymaking might be necessary, one that recognizes the importance of individual freedoms while still adhering to some level of order within shared spaces. Firstly, a critical step in this balancing act involves engaging residents in open dialogue about the purpose and function of the HOA's regulations. Many neighbors expressed frustration that the current policies felt outdated and disconnected from the realities of modern communal living. By bringing together residents, we could brainstorm ideas for amendments that respect the integrity of our community while allowing for personal expression, particularly in celebratory contexts. During our neighborhood meetings, suggestions began to surface about creating specific guidelines for photography-related activities. For instance, proposing designated celebrity appreciation days could allow residents to capture moments with public figures without fear of reprisal from the HOA. Such a framework would clarify when and how photography is acceptable within shared spaces, helping to assuage concerns that unsanctioned gatherings might disturb the neighborhood's peace. Additionally, it became clear there was potential to create an application process for other spontaneous events featuring public figures. Residents could submit proposals for gatherings or meet and greets weeks in advance, providing ample time for HOA review. This system would not only streamline approval, but also promote transparency and communication between residents and governing bodies. More importantly, it would cater to the heartfelt desire among community members to celebrate joyous occasions without being stifled by bureaucracy. Another avenue worth exploring involved educational initiatives that enlighten residents about both their rights and responsibilities as homeowners living within an HOA-managed area. By conducting workshops detailing local regulations alongside discussions on personal rights under relevant laws, we could empower residents to engage intelligently with community governance. Providing this context might encourage individuals to consider regulations from a more informed perspective rather than viewing them purely as constraints. Furthermore, enhancing communication channels with the HOA itself could mitigate misunderstandings in the future. Suggested strategies included regular community newsletters or open forum events where residents can voice their concerns directly to HOA representatives. These environments could foster collaborative discussions around modifying existing rules while cultivating a stronger sense of community involvement and ownership. As we continued refining these ideas, neighborhood excitement around potential changes grew exponentially. Collaborative brainstorming sessions transformed into lively discussions advocating for a vision of community life rooted in both joy and responsibility, one where individual expression coexists harmoniously with remaining diligent stewards of our environment. Ultimately, addressing these complex issues required commitment from both residents and the HOA to be flexible enough to evolve, but also mindful enough to respect one another's needs. By working together, we could create amendments that genuinely enhanced communal life while staying true to our collective values. In closing this chapter on finding balance within our community's dynamics, I reflected on how pivotal it was for us to foster an atmosphere where joy is embraced alongside necessary order, with amendments capable of nurturing diversity in experiences without compromising cohesion within our beloved neighborhood. This journey wasn't just about navigating regulations. It was about seizing opportunities for connection, growth, and progress in shaping a place where everyone felt at home, be it through celebrating celebrity encounters or enjoying simple everyday moments together. With the growing momentum of discussions surrounding the conflicts between the Homeowners Association, HOA, and residents over photography and public figures, our community began actively seeking resolution through formal meetings and organized events. The aim was not only to address the immediate issues, but also to transform any negativity into a positive community experience that could unify us. The first step involved organizing a town hall meeting where residents could voice their concerns about the HOA's regulations and collectively brainstorm potential solutions. The excitement in the air was palpable as neighbors filled the local community center, eager to share their opinions and experiences. Homeowners of all ages participated, reflecting a diverse range of perspectives that would enrich our discussions. During the meeting, I opened with a recap of my experience with LeBron James, framing it not just as a personal anecdote but as a symbol of what we could celebrate as a community. I encouraged everyone to think about how celebrity interactions, far from being disruptive, could strengthen our neighborhood bonds and bring joy into our lives. This set the tone for an engaging dialogue that followed. Residents began sharing their own stories of positive encounters with public figures and how those experiences inspired them. One neighbor recalled a charity event where a well-known local musician performed, which drew families together and created cherished memories that lingered long after the final note. Another resident suggested an annual festival that could incorporate live music, food, and opportunities for families to meet local celebrities, an idea that drew enthusiastic applause. As discussions continued, we delved deeper into potential amendments for HOA policies regarding gatherings and photography. There was a consensus that implementing designated celebrity days or community events where photography was encouraged would help establish clarity while allowing for joy to flourish. Further suggestions included crafting guidelines for informal gatherings where approval from the HOA would be streamlined, fostering transparency and encouraging more spontaneous celebrations. To reinforce these ideas, we decided to create a subcommittee focused on planning a community celebration day designed to embrace personal expression through art, music, and guest appearances from public figures. This initiative would serve as an excellent opportunity not only to engage with celebrated personalities, but also to showcase local talent and foster community spirit. The neighborhood buzzed with excitement following our initial meeting. Social media platforms were alive with discussions about the upcoming event as neighbors spread the word about getting involved in planning and volunteering. A Facebook group dedicated to Community Celebration Day became an active hub where residents could collaborate on logistics, share ideas, and post updates. To further solidify our unified stance regarding HOA policies, we collectively drafted an open letter addressing our concerns while proposing specific amendments aimed at enhancing personal expression within established frameworks. This letter would serve as both a request for dialogue with HOA representatives, as well as a testament to our commitment to maintaining respect for community standards while uplifting individual freedoms. As we moved forward with preparations for Community Celebration Day, it became evident that these resolution efforts were more than merely addressing policy disputes. They highlighted our shared aspirations for connection and engagement in ways that celebrated both individual experiences and collective identity. By turning challenges into opportunities for unity within our neighborhood, we were shaping a future where joy could thrive alongside structure. A future rooted in understanding and camaraderie. In summary, ongoing discussions transformed tensions into collaborative efforts aimed at making our community vibrant and inclusive. Each meeting not only clarified our stance on key issues but also animated our collective spirit, reminding us of the power nestled within shared aspirations. A force capable of not only resolving conflicts but ultimately enriching our lives together through celebration. Reflecting on the journey our community has undergone reveals not only the significance of local support in navigating conflicts, but also underscores the ongoing evolution of our identity amidst changing social norms. The initial conflict between residents and the Homeowners Association around photography and celebrity interactions turned into an opportunity for collective growth, highlighting how challenges can unite us in shared purpose. Community identity is forged through the interactions and relationships that define our daily lives. By confronting the restrictive regulations of the HOA, we did more than merely advocate for the right to take photos with public figures. We championed a deeper sense of belonging where personal expression is not just permitted but celebrated. Our collective response demonstrated that it's possible to uphold individual freedoms while also maintaining respect for community standards. This dynamic interplay is what truly characterizes our neighborhood. The enthusiastic support that emerged around initiatives like Community Celebration Day showcased how local backing can amplify voices and drive positive change. Having neighbors rally together fueled the movement, illustrating the power of community solidarity in shaping policies that reflect contemporary values. Such support reinforces our understanding that we are stronger when united. The joy and excitement generated by shared experiences have paved the way for continued engagement, fostering closer connections among residents. Moreover, this experience has drawn attention to the pressing need for HOAs to evolve alongside their communities. The rigid rules that once seemingly detached us from one another are now being re-examined through a lens of inclusivity and adaptability. By advocating for amendments that strike a balance with individual needs, we are pushing to redefine what it means to live harmoniously within an HOA framework, one that accommodates expressions of joy without sacrificing order or connection. In today's world, where community ties can sometimes feel strained, embracing flexibility in HOA guidelines helps reinforce a culture of cooperation rather than conflict. Simultaneously, these evolving policies ensure that new norms resonate with contemporary expectations, reflecting changes in societal values surrounding personal rights and communal responsibilities. It fosters an environment where every resident feels empowered to participate, share their experiences, and contribute positively to community life. The impact of public figures within our neighborhood serves as a poignant reminder of how interconnected our personal lives and communal identities truly are. A simple photo with someone like LeBron James catalyzed meaningful discussions around engagement and expression, elements vital for building robust community ties. As we continue planning future local events featuring celebrities alongside grassroots initiatives spotlighting homegrown talent, we're cultivating a villagescape replete with creativity and celebration. Ultimately, resolving conflicts encourages us to embrace progression, recognizing that governance must mirror the ethos and aspirations of those it serves. As we look ahead toward creating an empowered neighborhood ethos characterized by warmth and inclusivity, nurturing an environment where personal joy intertwines with collective pride will be paramount. In conclusion, our journey has illuminated critical themes surrounding community identity, how local support enriches engagement while emphasizing the importance of evolving HOA guidelines to match modern social norms. Together, we stand poised to create a neighborhood dynamic not only informed by history but also energized by optimism. A space defined by connections forged through laughter, celebration, and shared experiences where everyone feels at home amid friends and neighbors alike.